We are probably live right now, but I'm going to wait until Facebook says we're live. So give us a second, guys, if you're watching. We are, all right, all right, we're live.
Yay.
All right, so we are live, guys, and this is Heather and Bobby. We are doing our root cause reset. Today, we're talking about binders. I want to welcome everybody. Thank you for those who are watching live. Thank you for those who will be watching the replay. Um, we're excited that you're here. And just a quick introduction for those of you who might be catching this who don't know either of us. I'm Heather from Health Coaching by Heather. Bobby and I are both co-founders of Navigating Mold and SIRS, a course for practitioners. Oops, I just got, sorry, oh, thank you. Did you just turn that on, Bobby?
I did not.
Oh, guys, I'm sorry. I want to make sure it's recording, it says.
There's probably
All
my
right.
autopilot or something, which I tried to turn off.
All right. Well, I just accepted it, so I want it to record. All right. Sorry about that. So we both specialize in helping people recover from complex chronic illnesses like mold toxicity, Lyme, and chronic inflammatory response syndrome. And we both use a regenerative approach. I had undiagnosed Lyme and Bartonella for 22 years and a lifetime of mold exposure, and found out I had chronic inflammatory response. I keep getting messages.
That was me because I don't know if you turned on the recording for the Zoom. It might be
Um,
just something else. So just
oh, okay. Well, it says recording on my end.
okay.
Sorry, guys.
Perfect. 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 Okay.
It says recording. Um, and I was able to reverse Lyme mold and SIRS. And I'm gonna let Bobby just share a little bit about herself for those of you who don't know her.
Hello, I'm Bobby McGrath. I am a certified regenerative detox practitioner, and I also am a mold survivor and chronic inflammatory response recovered from that, and a lot of other labels that I don't own anymore, but there's some Lyme in there and some PTSD. So that's me. And I have a health coaching private practice called B4U. And I also co-own and um, facilitate the program with Heather on navigating mold and SIRS, and she's my partner in crime. And why are
Bobby,
we doing this work?
yeah.
Yeah. Why are we doing this work? So a little bit about me. Um, I was a health coach pretty much right before I got slammed with mold. And I believe that the best thing to say about why I'm doing any kind of health coaching at all is that I've had a lifetime of just a lot of health, caring for a lot of unhealthy people and people that needed support. And I just felt like it was time for me to use my gifts once my kids flew the coop, to use my gifts and help other people. And then mold came along knocking at the door, and I decided that mold and SIRS was something that I wanted to work with. But I'm really specialized in nervous system support, and I want to make sure that people understand that you can't just treat one symptom. It's not just one thing that's wrong in your system, or is struggling. It's a lot of things, and you got to treat the whole person, the whole body, mind, and spirit, and physical body too. So that's really kind of where we're coming from, is that we just want to make sure that people understand that it's a whole body process.
Love that, Bobby. Yeah, Bobby, I know agrees with this. We really want people to know that they can get well, that they can have hope, that they can get better. But also, that no matter how long you've been sick, if you want to get well, it's doable. It can be a little bit uncomfortable. You got to be ready to do the work, but we want to help people get better quicker, even quicker than we did, because there were so many pieces missed on both our journeys, that we work really hard to make sure we're not missing with our clients. And that's why we're doing these pop up, about every 2 weeks, these live education to give you some background on some of the pieces that we see getting missed.
Yep. And today we're going to talk about binders. And you may have heard that word before, or you may not have heard about binders, but we want to make sure you understand that toxins in general are stored in our body as a means of protecting us. So our body is innately educated and knows what to do. And when we have too many toxins swirling around in our body can't get it out through our stool and our urine and our breath and our skin, then it stores it. And so it stores it a lot of times in our fat and in our bones. But sometimes at certain points, the body can only store so much, and the toxic overload spills over into our system and creates symptoms, inflammatory symptoms, and a lot of different other symptoms that people just never would have ever imagined that maybe their migraine is from a toxic load or their gut gas and bloating is from a toxic load. You may have heard about needing the need to detoxify, and we can't live in this modern world anymore and just pretend like we can't. That's just for people who want to look like a celebrity. It's not. It's for all humans need to be woke to the fact that they have to detoxify their body. So today we want to explain what a binder is and make sure that you understand that there's a process that you need to go through in order to use them. And there's times to use them and times to not use them. And making sure that you're not going to be making yourself miserable by just hopping on a binder, just following things on the internet and misinformation and things like that. And it's really important to understand there's an order of operations to a lot of things that we're going to be talking about today.
Bobby. So we're going to get into what are binders. Binders are substances that grab onto these toxins that are in the tissues and escort them safely out of the body through the stool and the urine. And many toxins are processed by our liver, the master organ of detoxification. And our liver produces bile, which is used to transport toxins out of the body to the small intestine. If these toxins are not bound to anything, they can be reabsorbed back into circulation. And we don't want to do that. We're working to we want to work to get toxins out.
Yep. And the body works really hard to get it out. So to reabsorb it is just kind of devastating to the work that you're doing for the body to work to get it out in the first place. So we wanted to cover a few biggest mistakes that we see when we're working with people or talking to people in general about their health or walking with somebody through starting a detoxification program or beginning coaching with someone, is when they consider using a binder, when someone is not at least having one bowel movement a day, because your bowels are one of the biggest ways for you to release toxins. And when you're not going, unfortunately, and you're not flowing, the toxins can get reabsorbed. They can actually be in your stool ready to leave, but because the stool didn't leave the body's like, I don't know what to do with this. So they just start unpacking it and taking it back into circulation. The other piece to it is when your detox and drainage pathways are not open or they're not supported, let's say. So typically you would want to support you would want to support your detox pathways for at least 2 weeks, if not 4 weeks, before you were going to try to push through any kind of toxins and really go really alkaline, which we're going to talk about to pull those toxins out. But your bowels are where I've already mentioned, your liver and your gallbladder and your kidneys and your lymph. All of that needs to be moving and flowing, and your breath and breathing. And when those areas and those detox pathways are either not functioning well or they're backed up, like a colon that's backed up or a small intestine, that's when you really see some problems happen with symptoms and people feeling miserable.
Let's remember we did a live a few weeks back on going a little bit more in depth on these pathways and what symptoms you might have if your pathways are backed up. And if you can't find the live or it's disappeared off of Facebook, DM one of us. We have a YouTube video we created from the live that we can send you as some education to help you on your journey. And as Bobby said, it's really, really, really important that these pathways are open before you start to bind. And a lot of times that doesn't happen. So 2 to 4 weeks supporting pathways before you ever take a binder is really, really ideal to prevent that recirculation of toxins. And I can tell you on my healing journey, numerous times that was never, ever done until I established that in my own life as a coach. The other thing that we see that's often happens that is not right is somebody's using the wrong binder at the wrong dose for how much is leaving. Binders definitely shift in the healing journey because and remember, if you're someone here with mold or SIRS or even Lyme or other chronic issues, we're not just addressing one toxicity. We're really, what Bobby and I do is we're looking at the whole toxic bucket. So if you're on a binder for mycotoxins, that's great. But at some point, you're going to need another binder because it's not just mycotoxins that are leaving your body. You have chemicals and pesticides and heavy metals and pathogens that are leaving, and they're releasing toxins. So binders usually need to change on the healing journey. Doses often need to change. And the more you're detoxing, the deeper you're detoxing, the higher dose of your drainage pathway support that you'll need, and the higher dose of binder that you're going to need so that you feel, not so symptomatic as these things are leaving and creating some inflammation as they leave. What's really unique about what Bobby and I do with the regenerative approach is we are not trying to pull out toxins from the tissue with a binder. We are creating an internal environment by alkalizing the body, by increasing fruits and vegetables within clients' tolerance, um, to create an environment where the body starts to release those toxins on its own. And then we're using the binder to mop up what's being released from the tissues. So it's a little nuance, but we're really creating an internal environment where the body can start releasing on its own, and the binders to keep people more comfortable and keep toxins from recirculating.
Yeah. So you might say, well, why would I want to use a binder? And there's quite a few benefits from it. I know that Heather and I use a particular binder in our deepest detox by Cellcore called Carboxy. And it is something that truly does help us when we are really in the deeper detox mode. And what it can definitely help you with is that it can help with the gastric issues. A lot of times when there's what they call die off from things dying in your system, like a pathogen that dies and it releases its own gases and its own toxins, that can make you very gassy and very bloated. You can have diarrhea. You can have constipation and things like that. So a binder can help with those symptoms because it's lowering and mopping up that toxin that's in there, and it's basically binding to it. That's where it got its name. It's binding to it, and it's going to escort it out of the body. So that's just going to help lower the symptoms that you're having because a lot of times people think, well, the worse I feel, the more work, the more I'm getting out. And that's not always the case. You don't have to make yourself incredibly miserable to get your body cleaned up. Binders also actually lower cholesterol. Cholesterol is not a villain like a lot of people think it is. If you have elevated cholesterol, your body is basically telling you that you've got inflammation. I know at my height of my inflammatory process in SIRS, my cholesterol was over 300 and I was thin and I was, before I got extra sick, I was working out. So it wasn't because I was eating McDonald's French fries and things like that. But the binders do bind to fat, and that is one of the ways that it can help reduce cholesterol in the system. A binder also is going to alkalize your body, and alkalizing the body in the tissues is going to bring down the acidity. It's going to level out your pH because when we're toxic, we've got a lot of acidity in the body. And so the body's going to have problems and symptoms from being acidic. And what binders do is they can help level out that acidity and make the tissues more comfortable and actually help the tissues be able to have the exchange of from the cell wall of the waste that's in the cell and the products that are coming in that need to come in, like the nutrients and the electrolytes in the water. It's going to help that process happen when you are using binders because you're lowering the acidity and getting more alkaline.
Sorry if you heard some noise in the background. A truck just pulled up and I've got a little dog sitting on my desk. And if you hear some barking, that's because we're live. Thank you, Bobby, for sharing that. Um, so binders also, we mentioned they prevent the recirculation of these toxins. We want to get them out of the body. We don't want them recirculating to another place in the body. We want them out. it is going to bring down the whole entire toxic burden in the body. So as we do that, right, we're lowering inflammation, which is going to help with other health issues and symptoms that we're having. If you're having pain or a lot of symptoms when you're detoxing, that's like a pretty good sign that you probably need a binder. And as we said, it does bring down inflammation because it's mopping up these toxins that are creating that inflammation.
So you would want to be using a binder or getting coached by somebody that understands the binder when you are trying to attempt to detoxify anything out of your system, especially heavy metals, especially mold toxicity, any type of Lyme co-infections and things like that. When a client's having symptoms, we are typically going to be talking to them about, one, are they getting hydrated? Are they moving? Because if you're not moving, your lymph's not moving. So you need to be moving and hydrated, but then you also need to have something on board, like Heather's talked about, as a mop. So imagine having a party and you keep having a party and you keep having all of the solo cups and the plates and the junk and things, but nobody ever comes around with a garbage bag and cleans up the mess. That's what a binder is doing. It's helping, not sweep it up, but once it gets to a place where it can bind to it, then it can take it out to the garbage. So filling up that garbage can and getting it down to the street so the garbage man can take it out. It also is great to use binder when someone's really struggling with digestive issues from die-off or from things that are leaving the system. It's no fun to detoxify, especially if every time you're trying to, you can't leave the house because you're nauseous or you have gas and bloating and things like that. And that's where a binder can really help. And like Heather was talking about, it's great to take a binder, but you really need to know how much you should be taking. And it does ebb and flow. Some days you're going to need more than others because your body is doing a lot more work and releasing a lot more on that particular day, especially if you've had other things in your body improve, like a biofilm is released, and then all of a sudden there's more trash for the body to pick up. So a binder is definitely helpful in those situations.
And I'm just going to share, like today, to my surprise, right? I've been detoxing a lot. My body's, both Bobby and I are sort of at the end. We're not sick, but our body's still letting go of stuff that doesn't belong there. And my dose of binders has had to be really high. And I noticed my husband's off today and he's very tired and wiped out, and realized he's detoxing a lot deeper than he ever has, getting rid of that last bit of waste in the basement of his body. And I had to give him some extra binder to support him. And usually after you take the binder, you do feel better. So they're really, really helpful. So just reiterating when to use binders, we use the binders to mop up so that toxins aren't recirculated. So we're actually getting them out of the system. And it's really, really great to mop up any kind of die-off from bacteria, parasites, viral die-off, candida or fungal die-off. And when you have a lot of that, especially bloating in the gut, that's often die-off if the pathogens are in the digestive tract, but pathogens can be anywhere. So you shouldn't be doing like a parasite cleanse without considering preparing the body first and then using the binder for the die off. Like I said, people go in very quickly to start detoxing or start killing, without having all the pieces of the puzzle they need in the right order. And it makes a big difference, to how you feel. Now, we are going to do another talk. We don't want this to be too long, and we are going to talk about part two. We're going to go into some different types of binders, prescription binders, um, non-prescription over-the-counter binders that are depleting, and then nourishing binders. It's going to be a little overview, and we're going to do a live next week. I have the date here, September 29th, Monday. We're going to try to get back to our normal time, which was 11:30 Central Time, 9:30 Pacific Time. So come back because we still have more to talk about on the area of binders.
Yep. We also want to just give you a call to action that, if this is something that you're wanting to learn more about, reach out to us. We've got, that's what we are. We're coaches. We help people with this. If this has hit a chord with you, like, well, I was trying to do some of these things and I don't think I was very successful. One of the things we're currently working on is a gut reset program that we're getting ready to launch very soon. And so if that's something that you're interested in, if you just know you have gut issues for whatever reason, and you have not been able to find a good protocol or find a good plan for you to restore your gut, or just don't even really know where to begin, that's something that we would like to walk people through the month of October and early November. So that's coming up. DM us if you are interested, and we can just make sure we get your email and your name and put you on a wait list so that we can send you information on that once it's all wrapped up.
And if you are interested in us doing a class, we've actually already done a class for others. If you would like a live class covering drainage pathways and binders, probably two classes, 90 minutes each with live Q&A, put the word class, either DM me the word class or put it, after this. So we can think about putting together a live class to teach you all we know about drainage pathways and binders with PDFs and handouts. And of course, there will be a price attached to that class. But if there's interest, we will schedule to do something like that. So we want to thank you all for joining us live
Thank
or
you.
for watching the replay.
Yep.
And we hope you have a good rest of your week and that you'll come back on the 29th or watch the replay on the 29th as we do Binders Part 2.
Thanks everybody for coming.
Thank
Bye.
you.